Hey, what's up? It's your old pal, Mr. Cook, and we're going to be going through this quiz review, starting from 6.3 and going into 6.4 stuff. So 6.3 was working with equations, solving for variables, with values that are already plugged in. And then 6.4 was about word problems, creating an equation, and then potentially solving them. So since this review has 4 sections, I'm just going to make 4 quick videos going over each section. So the first one, use the formula to determine the value of the indicated variable. When necessary, round answers to the nearest hundredths. That's like, if you use a calculator. I'd recommend using a calculator just so you don't have to think about a lot of calculations and writing them all down and stuff. But I'm sure if you leave things in terms of fractions, that's okay. I'm just going to use a lot of the computational stuff on my calculator. Hope you don't mind it. I hope that you use a calculator too. Okay, so we're going to be given some parts of an equation, okay, like numerical values for some equation, and we need to solve for the part that's missing. So in this case, we have this equation P is equal to I squared times R, and we're going to be given 2 parts of this, and solve for the missing part. So the parts that we're given are P, that'd be 62,500, and also I is equal to 5. So when we go over this in my class, I tell my students that, if you just even plug stuff in, this will give you some points. So even plugging it in, writing it out like this, gets you some credit. Then the last part is just to get, isolate the variable from solving. So it's something that you guys learn back in, maybe 8th grade math or something like that. But after you plug the stuff in, the next thing that you would want to do is expand stuff. So like if you have distributive property stuff or anything like that, you expand. Or you use the reverse order of operations to solve. So simplify and solve. In this case, I don't have anything to distribute, but I do have like this square here. So I'm going to figure out what that number is first. So I go to my calculator, 5 squared, that's 25. So I just rewrite it really quickly. 62500 is equal to 25R. And then once I know all my numbers, they're multiplied out, divided out, added, like terms are combined together. Then I start solving. So I draw a line through my equal sign. I'm one of those teachers that does this. And then my goal is to isolate this variable. In this case, it's R. So to isolate the variable, you use the reverse order of operations. So order of operations is PEMDAS. And it stands for like an order by which you simplify stuff. So if you start at the bottom, with addition and subtraction, this is the way to solve. You start at the bottom and make your way to the top. That's reverse order of operations. So what we do is around this variable R, stuff's happening to it, right? So the first thing that we do to solve is get rid of any addition and subtraction first. So there's nothing that's adding or subtracting onto it. So I don't have to worry about the R value. The only thing that's happening to R is that it's getting multiplied by 25. So that's actually the next part. I need to get rid of any multiplication division. So if I'm multiplying by 25, the way that I get rid of it is by dividing by 25. So I need to divide both sides by 25. So this side and also this side. Whatever I do on this right-hand side, I also have to do on this left-hand side, okay, to all the terms. So if I'm dividing by 25 here, that cancels out because the 25 divides out, and I just get an R by itself. And then I just use my calculator for the rest of it. I just type it in as is, 62500 divided by 25, and that gives you my answer for R. It's 2500. Okay, so there's my answer. R is equal to 2500. If you just left it like that, that's fine. Or you could just write up R equals 2500 and put a little box around it, and that would get like full credit for me. Okay, so there you go. There's the first problem. Reverse order of operations is the way to go about it. But again, remember, you get points by just plugging this stuff in. Okay, next I've got B is equal to 703 times W over H squared. So I've got to find out what B is when W is 130 and H is 60. So if W is 130, that W gets replaced with a 130, and H is 67. So I just replace the H in the bottom by 67. So if I type this into my calculator as is, it's just a bunch of numbers right now, I get b by itself. There's no need to simplify that or to solve this. All I have to do is just some, computation on this stuff, and that gives you my answer. So let's type it in and see what we get. So 703, and then times, and I'm sorry, I missed something on there, didn't I? I got that square there. You're probably like, "Ooh, what about the square?" Yeah, don't forget the square. So 67 squared. So 703 times 130, and then divided by 67 squared. Okay, so I type that into my calculator, and I get some number. Some of you guys have these fancy TI-84s, and some of them have programming that allows you to make a fraction. So you see I have like this fraction here. I can actually write that into my calculator as is, just to be confident that this is the right answer. All I have to do is this. If I hit the alpha button, this like green button right here, it's underneath the second part. Let me draw an arrow to it. It's like right there, alpha. And then if you hit the Y1 button that's up at the top, it brings up this menu. And if you select the first option, the one that says N divided by D, it creates a fraction for you. So you could also write it out like this if you wanted to. 703 times 130, and then divided by 67 squared. Now it looks like identical to what I have it written down. So if I hit enter, see I get like a fraction. That's my, that could be my answer. Or I can convert it to a decimal. The way that you can convert it to a decimal is if you hit the math button and then hit 2. That like converts the number to a decimal. And you see that I get the exact same number as before. So I can write either of these down and get full credit. So if I had the fraction, I could write that down. 91390 over 4489. And that's fine. You can leave it like that. Or you can do the decimal number. But remember that it says to round this to the hundredths place. The hundredths place is to the 2 decimal places. So I'd like stop there. So this is going to be 20 and then 35. And then since I have an 8 at the next number, I round up. So that'd be 20.36. So another way that I could write this up is approximately equal to, what was it? 20.36, right? Yeah, 20.36. All right. And either of these answers, like here or here, would get me full credit. All right. So there's number 2. Number 3. So I've got this equation. S is equal to 4 times L times W plus 2 times W times H. And I'm given the S value, which is 336. I'm given the H value, which is 9. And I'm given the W value, which is 8. Okay, so I got to solve for the L value in here. And to do that, I've got to do some computation. I got to figure out like what this number is over here. And on top of that, I've got this 4 times L times 8. And there's this nice rule in multiplication called commutativity, and that allows you to move things around that are multiplying. So like this L and this 8, I can swap them around. So 4 times 8 times L. And then I can just like multiply those two numbers together to figure out like, ultimately what this becomes. So 4 times L times 8 turns into 4 times 8 times L, which is 32L. And then now I've got to do this multiplication, 2 times 8 times 9, so that's 144. And you can, use your calculator to find that if you want. Okay, so remember that all of that stuff is equal to 336, so I'm just going to write all of that is equal to 336. And then I just start my solving algorithm. So again, I use the reverse order of operations. So I want to get L all by itself. So what's happening to L? L is being multiplied by 32, and it's being added onto by 144. So I've got to get rid of the addition and subtraction first because my order of operations, my reverse order of operations. So I got to get rid of this plus 144. So to get rid of plus 144, we do the opposite. We subtract away 144 from both sides. Okay, so if I do that, then this part cancels out, and I just have a 32 times L, and then that's equal to, I can't do that number in my head. Let's see. Let's use our calculator. 336 minus 144. Clear out this stuff and erase the screen. There we go. 336 minus 144 equals, so that's 192. So 192 is equal to 32 times L. Now, to get L by itself, since 32 is multiplying onto this L over here, what I'm going to do is divide by 32 on both sides. So that's how you get rid of multiplication. You divide. All right, so this will give me the L value all by itself. And now I use my calculator to divide 192 divided by 32, and I get 6 exactly, so 6. So my answer for number 3 is going to be L equals 6, and that'd be enough for full credit for that problem. Okay, we've got one more problem from this problem set. That's number 4. So let's do number 4, and then that'll be it for this video. All right, so we've got M is equal to A plus B plus C all over 3. So it looks like I know what M is. M is 85. I know what B is. That's 77. And I know what C is. That's 92. So what I'm going to do now is, solve this thing out. So I'm going to combine like terms first. So I've got a 77 and a 92. I'm going to add those together. So I get 85 is equal to A plus, let's see what that's going to give me. 77 plus 92, 169. And then that's all over 3. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. I think that the easiest way is, since everything is dividing by 3 here, it's like everything's divided by 3. What I could do in this special case, when all of it is divided by 3, I can multiply both sides by 3. Now, if you're thinking about like the order of operations, usually multiplication division happens like kind of towards the end when you're solving. But it's actually true that the 169 and the A are grouped together with the parentheses here. So technically parentheses is like the last thing that you do. That's why it's okay to just get rid of that. Divide by 3 in this case. So get rid of divide by 3 by multiplying by 3. So if I do 3 times 85, I get 255. And then that's equal to A plus 169. And that's because the 3's get canceled out here. Okay, there's one last step to get the A by itself, and that's to subtract 169 from both sides. So A is equal to, let's see what we get on our calculator here, 255 minus 169, and we get 86. So A is equal to 86 for our answer. And that's it. So A equals 86. All right, that's the first 4 questions in the first section from the review. So now I'm going to go to the next section where we're solving for stuff, I think. Yeah, that one shouldn't be that bad. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.